crowd towards Kyle a spur on the team at all?
Never heard it.
What
would the crowd be booing Kyle for?
Just the conversion early in the game. They were quite passionate, this Canberra
I think
crowd.
they do that. No, that's good on them. That's going to happen everywhere.
Poor question too when you ask Shane about his son. I think it's a disgrace how you guys in the media are just absolutely bashing the kid publicly. I said you guys in the media. And you asked a question there about his booing. I mean, like, honestly, I've got a son playing, and that's my biggest fear. You people, not him, but the media. The way he's been portrayed in the media at the moment, that poor kid. And I went up to him and I grabbed him after the game and took him aside and spoke to him. I've known him since he's been a little boy. It'd be torture for his mother. I know his old man will handle it, but it'd be torture for his mother and his sisters. You imagine if it was one of yours. That's when it becomes real.
So what do you say to the Raiders fans that were booing you quite loudly?
Were they all Raiders fans, were they?
It was coming from our side of the stand, it seemed that way.
They always boo a goal kicker. How many games do you go to? They always, I want them to boo their goal kicker.
Okay.
I want our Raiders fans, they can throw cans at him for all I care. I want them to boo a bloody goal kicker.
Okay.
That's their job.
Ricky Stuart did not miss there. You behind him, Freddie? You like what he said?
Well, he made a good point. Why bring it up? It was unnecessary. So she made sure he overstepped the line with the questioning.
Well, they want a headline. That's what they're looking for. And look, Cole's never going to be a superstar. He's never going to be a Nathan Cleary or Isaiah Katoa. But he's a solid halfback. He gets his team around the park. I'll tell you what he does. He competes and he's tough. He defends well. I'd imagine on social media he just gets hammered. Geez, it must be hard doing the father-son thing, coaching.
Well, you could see how difficult it clearly is, Cam, because you could see the passion and emotion in Ricky's voice. It's hard to escape.
Well, it is, and you know, he made the comment about he's got his own son playing now, so he understands, you know, from that point of view, he's not just a coach anymore. He's got a son. He's a father of someone playing in the NRL, and yeah, it can be brutal sometimes. It can be brutal, and you know, they can single out individuals for any particular reason and sort of go after them, and yeah, it's not pleasant. So, but I do agree with him also. Like, you know, every goal kicker gets booed.
Yeah.
It wasn't about the booing.
Yeah.
Like I said, it wasn't about the booing. It's providing a platform to people then go onto a computer and then start, you know, take the conversation
What
further.
happens
That's what happens
afterwards,
after. Like, it had nothing to do with the booing. That's what he said. Throw cans at him. I don't care. That's what he wants.
Well,
Yeah.
probably can't do that. Don't encourage any of that, Ricky.
But technically, they don't sell cans of beer at the
Cups.
No, cups and bottles.
Cup wouldn't go far.
Well, there's a bottle thrown
On Friday night.
Friday
night game,
It is
right near the end. Anyway, look, Raiders still at the top of the ladder, and it wasn't their best victory, but hey, at times like this, you just need, that's still a gutsy win to hold on with a fast finishing Dragons outfit.
I had a look at the Raiders this year. They've won 7 games by 6 points or more. And that's the difference in your season. You've got to win the tight ones. And the teams down the bottom, St George's won, they've lost 5 by 4 points or less. And they've lost 3 by 1 point. But they just keep getting it done. This young bloke's an absolute superstar.
You know what's been interesting, that, Joey? Early on in the year, they ran down a few teams. But they're one of the only teams, I think, to have wins pretty much on the bell to win the game. They had 2 of them.
Yeah.
And then they've also held teams out. So being able to chase points and also hold teams out says something about their character.
During KO Weeks had a bit of Brett Mullins about him last night.
He was
scoring those long-range tries. That was a big play in the game, competing for that high ball. It was a really entertaining game. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, they're finding ways to win games in various situations, aren't they? Which, you know, you think it's great preparation come finals time.
Yep.
Because you just don't know, you know, things can happen so quickly, particularly with HIAs these days, sin binnings as well. You might spend a period of time with one man off the field. You might have to find yourself, you know, behind at half time or in front, whatever it is.
What about this?
They're...
And kick chase, go down as a team. Don't try to solve it on your own.
Especially on someone like this.
I think O'County end up beating 8. Beat 8 tacklers.
But they just keep producing, don't they? You know, that's been the most impressive thing about the Raiders.
No, their recruitment is whoever has done their recruitment. Also, the way he coaches the team, Ricky Stuart, complements their style. But these young players, in particular in their key areas, are just moving forward, going to be absolute stars. Kale Weeks, Ethan Strange, Ethan Sanders, Owen Paddy. I mean, these are young men who are going to play 10 or 12 years. And Sloane, Freddie. Now, there is a bloke that has so much talent, but for whatever reason, cannot do it week to week. Geez, I reckon there's a real top line, whether outside back or full back in him.
Well, he scored 2, set one up. He actually played a part in them scoring a try. Him and Gutho come together. It wasn't just them, but I think Sebastian Chris played a massive part in that try as well. But, you know, he can improve in some areas, but I've got to say, the other areas of his game are outstanding.
How do you reckon he'd go down to the Storm?
Oh, I think he'd go well.
Yeah.
Well, he has been told
like
he can look elsewhere. He's been told he can
But the
look
Storm
around.
get those players, for whatever reason, who don't find that consistency, and they turn them into top line, well, consistent top line.
Speaking of the Storm, it was quite a similar story where definitely not their prettiest win, but gutsy to hold on and so important to get these one and just get the 2 points at this time of the year when you don't have your origin stars.
Yeah, well, I think what you just said there, Em, about, you know, they had a stack of players out. I think it's like 5, maybe 6 players out at the moment due to origin representation. And the Cowboys do as well. They had a fairly young side out in the...
There was 16 between them. 16 players out between them.
Heard you. Look at this.
Speed. Look how fast he is at the end here. Straight round meanie. I tell you, I was sitting on the edge of my seat. I was quite nervous about the finish of this, given, you know, guys like this man here drink water and what he can produce. It actually looked like, you know, the Cowboys were going to have a bit of a win at home here against the Storm, but just they found what they needed to find at the end of the game, Em.
They win tight games.
And they're very good at it. At times they have been inconsistent this year. They have won some pretty scrappy games, but when they need to pull one out, I don't know what that is, but that's a...
What are you doing in
That's
Melbourne?
a July
Mate,
celebration.
They look like
Melbourne. What the hell was that?
Mate,
Seriously.
They look like
hardly
you magic round on that magic round on that podium.
He had me covered, Nick.
Was that before the Sunday Footy show?
Yeah. That was a little
Oh, yes, when we had Mount Drew and Freddie out.
Oh, he's back.
That was fun.
That was good.
Yeah.
Good night.
Well, they got there in the end, Em. Storm.
Jerome Hughes, he come up with a beautiful kick at one stage, and then Nick Mooney come up a couple of plays.
Yeah.
That was just stood out.
As a man, he was the difference on the left side. Set up 2 tries. His running game was a real threat, but the old cliche, it was a game of 2 halves. They looked legless in the first half, the Broncos, and Bulldogs were really good. But then the second half, they just made some comical errors, and the Broncos punished them.
Yeah, they got cocky, didn't they, the Bulldogs?
Their record against top 8 teams is at 2 from 8, something like that.
Really?
Their performance against the top 8 teams isn't flash. He was the difference, Ezra, by the end.
Mate, Willison was good.
Well, they had no middle.
He played in the front row and he killed him. He was fantastic.
So was Kobe Hedrington. He's a good player. Once again, the left side, running off Ezra, and he plays to the outside, then this time he goes short.
One thing you highlighted during the game, there was a high shot, so the ball got played pretty much on the try line. The winger, Karapani, was on the 40-metre line.
40 metre.
Yeah.
It was 40 metres away. You saw Ezra come across so much time and just lofted it into their hands.
It was a throwback, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, it was the old school style of footy where you just got deep
and
ran hard.
Yeah.
You know, you ran into, you found the space, you identified space, and you just ran hard into it. Yeah, it was great footy.
He's added so much on that left side, Ezra. Now he's back with his running game, but also his passing game.
Yeah.
But his running game is his best quality. We haven't sort of seen too much of his running game, but that left side was humming.
That's
I've got to say, the crowd were relentless with him too.
Yeah.
They were booing every time he got the ball. And I've got to say, like, going to Bulldogs games at the moment, it's fantastic. The entertainment level is brilliant how they're doing it. Like, you know, how the team's running on, warming up, the whole lot. It's just great. But then when they were just into him the whole game, and for him to answer it, come up with a couple of awesome plays, they didn't quite handle, the crowd didn't actually quite handle that
They didn't know
as respectfully as they should have, as gracefully. Well, they didn't have much grace in them, so...
They got a pretty good run in. I think if the Warriors with the wobbles, with their injuries to Mitch Barnett and also Luke Metcalf, their halfback, I think they're 2 wins in front, 4 points. Broncos run in is pretty favourable. They played the Storm twice. And I think the last round they play the Storm, which
Yeah.
will decide if they get the top 4. If they get in the top 4, look out.
And they've got Ben Hunt to come back as well still.
Yeah.
For the Doggies, so Matt Burton played in the centres, obviously Stephen Crichton in Blues camp. So you had Sexton and Lockie Galvin. That was only for that week. Cameron Ciraldo said once Critter's back, Burton goes back to 6, but is it alongside Galvin or is it alongside Sexton now that we know Sexton is leaving at the end of the year?
I think they'll go with Galvin.
Okay.
I think he'll play halfback. It's hard for him to judge. First half they look really good, but second half they dropped that much ball. But with him moving on, I think they'll go Galvin. I think they'll go Galvin and Burton.
Yeah, I think they will as well. But I also think it's a really tough call on Toby Sexton.
Oh, 100%.
You know, like they're still sitting top 2. Like he's been their number 7 for the first half of this season, and he's got them into the position that they're in right now. So, you know, to gain a player halfway through the year like Lockie Galvin, as good as Lockie Galvin is, it's a tough call on Toby Sexton to say, righto, mate, thanks for that first half of the year, and out you go.
I don't reckon they will. I think he gives them a good bit of balance, and I think Galvin off the bench has been able to come on and really ignite them. I thought on the weekend, on Friday, he kept going to that left-hand side, and they come out with 3 errors. One ended up going to a try. And I think what happened, he just ran out of ideas, and I think that was, you know, the immaturity, I suppose.
Forced the pass a couple of
Inexperience,
times, didn't he?
forced pass a couple of times. And now I think he's just got to learn when that happens, he's always heading across throwing that outside pass.
Yep.
Sometimes you've got to dummy and go. The other one is someone's got to come under, like make it an easy play, while you get your thoughts back. So I think he just overplayed that a little bit. So I reckon they'll stick with Toby. I think it's worked, and they might just start bringing him on earlier and earlier.
If they do that, though, I reckon if Galvin has a bench spot, I reckon they need to find or identify a particular spot that he plays. I think the rotation where Marnie comes off, Sexton goes to 9, I just don't think that
Didn't work
that
against
works.
Penrith.
No.
Try July celebrations, but the Raiders had an interesting one, and Gus didn't have much to offer in commentary. He said, I think it's milking.
Milking,
so,
for sure.
Yes. So,
That graced.
Wow.
Yep.
thoughts,
No
comments?
comment. No comment.
No comment?
Wow.
Joey?
It's like another rating.
I've learned the past, just keep your big mouth shut.
We'll talk about the actual footy because it was a history-making night on Friday for the Bulldogs, their first time in the competition. And Cam, they got a victory over 2-time premiers, the Newcastle Knights.
Yeah, well, this was somewhat of an upset, wasn't it? Then? Great night for the Bulldogs, of course. You know, Freddie just spoke about how well, you know, the Bulldogs as a footy club are doing their game day experience, and you know, for the women to come out and have a victory in their very first game in the NRLW was outstanding. A couple of famous names in there too.
Look at that. Gus,
Tabuai-Fidow.
smile, Gus.
There's the Gould father watching over everyone, just sitting there.
They were good.
Pondering.
Oh, really good.
Yeah.
Bulldogs.
Yeah. Their recruits were good. Taylor Preston. Speaking of recruits, in the Broncos victory over the Tigers, Joey, Tamika Upton, one of the best players in the world, and it was great to see her back at home.
I think the best player in the world. We saw her in Origin. She tore that glute, but big signing going back home to the Broncos. You just look at the athleticism and just the balance, setting up the long distance try. This was a really good game. Nice and fast and open. It's a 28-4, I think. But yeah, she's an absolute superstar.
It's Mele Hufanga doing what she does best.
And look at all the tries. She's in and around the play all the time, coming around on that sort of second wave of attack. And any room to move, she just nails it.
Yeah.
She'll be the difference this year. I think they're going to be incredibly hard to beat, the Bronx. I think the Roosters are favourites.
They are, yeah.
Broncos.
Defending premiers. And no Millie, obviously she's not playing this year, but Corbin Baxter is back from an ACL for the Roosters. They're in action a bit later. But the Dragons were great to watch. But in particular, Indy Bostock on her NRLW debut, she got a double. And we saw plenty
Could have got
highlight.
3.
Yeah.
Could have got 3.
It would have been, Middo said it would have been the first time if she got the hat-trick that someone had done that on debut.
Well, you can tell the whole team, they're athletes. Look at their side. There's about 5 girls under the age of 20. They've got a brilliant system down there, the Illawarra team. They've got a whole group of young women coming through. They're all in the New South Wales teams. They've had great success. But she scored a couple of tries. And good to see Racine McGregor, their goal kicker. She kicked 6 from 6. So, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. They weren't all in front, so good on her. But good to see them in clear. Some of the real athletes. Tegan Berry,
Tegan Berry.
Bostock.
She's an athlete.
Fantastic.